Come on, get in! Sunderland have just, literally seconds ago, just beat Leeds by 1-0 at the Stadium Light. And I tell you what, I said this at half-time when it was 0-0. Dodds played that one tactically perfectly. He absolutely nailed it. And, against a very, very good, in-form Leeds side. Dodds, could we ask for any more from the lad? Could we ask for much more? West Bromwich, I think they were 4th or 5th at the time when we played them, beat them 2-1 at home. Leeds, they're winning games in front at the minute, playing outstanding football, 3rd in the league. We just beat them 1-0. And tactically, like I said, he absolutely nailed it. He was spot on and so brave going into this game. For me, personally, under Tony Mowbray, we do not win that game because I don't think Mowbray would be brave enough to do or make the changes that Dodds has made this evening. Now, I need to calm down. What do I mean by that? Because we've got a lot to get into with this one to break down. I know it only looks on the surface as a 1-0 win, but there's a lot to break down. Dodds very bravely changed the system quite considerably. We went to a 5 at the back, and defensively, it was just that. It was a flat back 5 with Pato in goal. As a sort of middle 3, we had O'Nien, we had Sealt, and we had Dan Ballard. On one side, we had Hume. The other, we had Huggins, although those two did interchange. And I don't know whether that was just whether they were following a certain winger to mark, whether Somerville was on one side or the other winger was on the other. But they did chop and change that a good couple of times or a handful of times throughout the game. Then in the middle, we had Dhannoo, we had Jobe. And then up top, we had sort of Pritchard down the centre as a sort of false 9, number 10 role. Clark on the left, of course, and Abdoullah Ba on the right-hand side. Now, I thought, at first, is that a bit too defensive, potentially? No, absolutely not. We nailed it. I think the first 5 minutes or so, we were trying to bed ourselves in, trying to get used to the system, but that's all it took. Leeds had a very good chance early doors from a set piece. I think it may have been Somerville himself who took it, and it was heading, it looked destined to that top right-hand corner. It looked like it was going to beat Pato, but it scrambled, and he's managed to parry it away from the far post. But that was the only real chance or decent chance of the only real time they did test Patterson in that first half. But we started to play it perfectly. When they had the ball, when they had it in their half, we just left them, we just sat. As soon as they crossed our half, we were right in their faces, some inch-perfect slamming challenges, as you'd expect, from Trey Hume. Some great defending. Sealt was fantastic, I have to say. He was absolutely brilliant, the young lad. It's only, his second start. And he was absolutely outstanding, or third start, potentially. But he was fantastic as well, winning balls in the air. A little bit of a slow start, I must say, but he did get into it, intercepting balls. The second he got into our final third, pushing out. But then on the counter, we had to be patient with this system as well. That is something that we don't usually see. With us, we're a very possession-heavy side, but we gave Leeds that respect. And I don't think even for the last couple of years, I've seen us play in that manner. We never usually sit back a little bit and just have that patience to wait for them to try and get at us and then nick it off them and go. Usually it is us that's trying to dominate the play, and it must have been difficult for the lads to adapt to that, but they did it like that after the first 5-10 minutes. And again, I give credit to Dodds, but give credit to the lads as well for that. We made chances, as I say. Jack Clark was running their young right back ragged at times, getting balls across the box, taking on his man, getting to the byline, as he does. There was a chance as well when the ball was fizzed in from Pritchard, and his set-piece deliveries this evening were fantastic. Went in from the corner, and it looked like it was headed for the far corner, and they managed to scramble it away. There's about 3 Leeds bodies on the back post, and they're both almost hitting the ball, ricocheting against each other, and they managed to get it away. And another one, it was Sealt with a header, actually. Another brilliant delivery into the box by Pritchard. And it's a Sealt header that looks destined. It's drifting into that top left-hand corner. And their keeper, my God, is it Mailer? Phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. Probably save of the season. Somehow managed to not only get across, but tip it around the post as well. It gets a brilliant hand to it. But yeah, so we made some really, really good chances. Jobe as well. Another delivery into the box. He really should have done better. Pretty much maybe 7, 8, 9 yards out. Potentially absolute maximum. Totally free header. And he's sort of like skim across him and he's put it wide of goal. So we were making the chances, and we had a few little half chances here and there. Like I said, we were making chances. Second half, the only thing I was screaming for was for Ba to come off, because out of all these outstanding performances that I'm seeing, Ba stuck out like a sore thumb in terms of he isn't good enough. for me. I think whenever I try and think of the positives from Abdoullah Ba, all I get is the game against Southampton and Norwich last season. Other than that, it's just a collection of poor displays for me with Abdoullah Ba. As soon as you come up against a side that are even remotely physical, he just becomes this child. And every time he got the ball, it was easily pushed off it. And whenever he did manage to retain possession, he would be passing it to the first Leeds man he could see. It was that bad. And there was I think there was one time in that first half where we did manage to break. And that's what it was. We were playing a lot of counter-attacking football and we looked lethal, looked fantastic going forward. But I did have it. And at one point, it was literally 5-on-2 or possibly 3 in our favour. And literally, there was men darting left, right and centre. Any Sunderland player, go for it. He passes it straight down the middle, straight to a Leeds man. No way near any Sunderland player. It was appalling, I have to say. So, not shockingly, it did take a little bit of a while. He did come off and Roberts come on. Seal, whilst making an outstanding challenge, whilst we're defending going backwards, he reaches out, obviously with his leg, managed to reach round on the left-hand side. They were getting down the wing. He reaches out, inch-perfect sliding challenge. He looked like he picked up a bit of a strain or a knock. He looked like he'd pulled something there, his hammy. So he did carry on for a few minutes, but he come off and Ekwah come on, which forced us to change the system. And I was shitting myself because we looked so defensively solid with so many, last-ditch challenges defensively. It looked like they weren't going to get anywhere near us because, they have this pace and flair, but then as soon as it comes to the final product, we have too many bodies in front of us, or in front of them, should I say, to get the ball away, and we were defending resolutely. So we had to change this system now with Ekwah going into the middle alongside Dhannoo. It pushes Jobe and allows him to get forward. And even though I was shitting myself, and Leeds did start to mount a bit of pressure without making too many clear-cut chances, Jobe scored. Of course, Jobe scored, and I was actually going to give him a little bit of criticism because I thought everyone else were really pulling their weight, but there were times, again, and I think it will come with maturity, and I have said this before in games, I think it was Huddersfield, where he was definitely guilty of times of just ball watching and almost hiding behind Huddersfield players whilst we were in possession, not showing for the ball, and then rather than running into the space that's clearly there, he would just kind of just point like, pass it over there, lads, or pass it over there. He got a little bit like that at times in the first half, where Dhannoo will pick it up and he's just kind of stood there and he's ball watching and he's hiding behind Leeds men when there is gaps to move into. He needs to show for it and ask for it, and he wasn't. So I was prepared to give him a bit of criticism, which I guess I still can touch upon, which shows I'm not being fickle, because he did get the goal for us. We did manage to work the ball into the box. It falls for Bellingham, who manages to nod it past the oncoming keeper to make it 1-0. And then we really did, have to sit back and just accept a lot of Leeds United pressure. And they did make a fantastic chance. I think it was Perot it was pretty much on the edge of the 6-yard box, kind of swiveled. He's managed to toe poke it across goal, beats Patterson, but there is Trey Hume, the god that he is, to get it off the line. And a few half chances, Notto on the right hand side. He was, one-on-one with Jack Clark a few times. He's whipping balls in the box, and it's just not quite falling for them. Last ditch challenges on the edge of the box. That comes on for the last few minutes. And we see it out. It's an incredible 1-0 win. And I have to say, as much as there is all this talk at the minute about Will Still, Dodds needs to be given massive, massive credit. The lads and the players have been saying how tactically good he is. And for players don't just say that. Do you know what I mean? And they're all playing for him. And, for what... I know he come in, didn't he, when we were in League One? A really shit time when he had to take over then and oversaw a couple of really poor defeats, and it obviously hurt him. My God, has he rectified it now? To beat West Brom, to beat Leeds, he's done us very, very proud. He's done himself proud. So, very, very well done to Mike Dodds. And, since the game against West Brom, he finds himself at 8-1. It wouldn't surprise me if he evens now. Do you know what I mean? Can we cancel the Uber for Will Still? I'm only joking, but, it would be a shame. It'd be a drastic shame if someone like Dodds was to go. If someone like Will Still or whoever is to come in at Sunderland does get rid of him, it would be a massive, massive shame, because the lads have obviously took a shine to him, and they're playing for the lad. They're playing for the bloke, and he obviously knows what he's doing, but that is probably thinking a little bit too far ahead. But a big, big win. Absolutely buzzing with that. So we remain in the top 6 as we do go towards the weekend, when we do, of course, take on Bristol City. But there we go. That is everything, guys. If you've enjoyed, and if you're happy, like me, hit the like button. Subscribe if you're new. But for now, take care. Away the lads.